Hey everyone, welcome to a special Locked On Lakers for a Sunday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, Luka Dončić goes for 32 in Denver, and the Lakers win wire to wire. This one was fun. We'll break it down next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, and sometimes on Sundays. No matter how or where you get your podcasts, this one's always free, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go hang out with 32,000 plus excited Lakers fans following a 123-100 wire-to-wire win for the Lakers in Denver. They slay the Nuggets Dragon, at least for one night. And Andy, we've said to ourselves, I wonder what it's going to look like when Luka feels comfortable and has like a really good game. Like we haven't seen that yet in the three to this point as Luka works his way back into it. At some point, he was going to look like Luka, and then we wonder what it would look like for the Lakers. And we saw on Saturday, and it was really cool.
Yeah, the answer to that question is really effing good. Like the short answer to that question we were all pondering is really effing good. This was a game that the Lakers controlled from start to finish. They played extremely well on both sides of the ball. Like, we're going to get in some individuals, but from a team defense perspective, if you played minutes, significant minutes in this game, you were very good. Like, there was nobody out there defensively. And by the way, this includes Luka for all of the questions that surround him with defense. If you played minutes in this game, you were very good defensively. And there was also too, as far as like moments that to me really signal like this was a game that the Lakers were not just going to win, but they were going to control it. The third quarter opened pretty disastrously. Denver went out on an 8-0 run in just under 2 minutes. It opened actually with Jamal Murray taking a technical free throw because Luka got hit with a tee right as the first half expired. And the lead is down to 1 in just under 2 minutes. Lakers call timeout. LeBron ends up scoring quickly off, I believe, a baseline cut. Then you get a couple baskets from Rui, a basket from Luka, some really good defensive play, disruption, and the Lakers are right back up to double digits. And it just felt to me in that moment, I don't care what happens from here. The Lakers are going to win this game because they are outplaying Denver. And given some of the history between these two teams recently, I think Denver was confused to see them get outplayed. Yeah. You know, it's a brand new look. You know,
I was about to say we can get into it a little bit. Like I think, and we'd even mentioned this, like, you know, the matchup issues. People say like, you don't want to play Denver in the first, just avoid Denver. I'm not even sure you can look at that. You know, the team is so different. And it's obviously, you know, Luka doesn't have the same Denver baggage, you know, DFS, you know, guys like that. They're coming in
about that during the game. I think that is so incredibly important.
And so, you know, but like it starts like, you know, this was the game where you could see the potential of what the Lakers could look like, particularly offensively. The fact that they held Denver to 100 points, third straight game where they're basically averaging their opponent. I realized they didn't look good against Charlotte. You know, the Portland game made people more nervous than you know, it should have, at least initially after the first quarter. This is 3 games in a row where you're basically averaging 100 points allowed against 3 different teams. So you're playing good defense, but you know, Luka, a comfortable Luka Doncic, and he went for 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, played a lot of this game like with a big smile on his face. Like, he looked happy, he looked comfortable, he looked excited at the matchup and the opportunity to kind of contribute to a big win on the road. He made it to the line 8 times. He had 4 of his 9 threes. Like, this was the
4 steals, just 1 turnover.
Yeah. This was the Luka. The Lakers as a team only turned the ball over 8 times. So like they had a great night taking care of the ball. That was a huge difference between this game on Saturday and what they had been doing to this point out of the All-Star break. But when Luka is Luka, it's like, oh, okay. Now LeBron, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, again, only 1 turnover. You see AR, 23 points. He had 7 assists. The amount of shot creation the Lakers were able to get in this game was phenomenal. Like, they had clean looks all over the floor. The 3-point shooting in this game was a little bit better than it had been, particularly early. The Lakers were hitting threes to help build out this lead, hit some critical threes to help build it out again. And it's just like, that was the, okay, here's like, not that you didn't know it and you got to be patient and all that, but like, this was what it was supposed to look like and theoretically could look like going forward, where it didn't feel like Luka and LeBron and AR were sort of on separate islands. Everything felt very connected. They were moving the ball to each other. There was a nice flow and energy to everything they were doing, but it started with, if you put Luka Doncic on the floor now with LeBron James, that's not guardable. And guys move and they make themselves available and they go to the right spots on the floor. That's not guardable because those two have the vision that goes beyond anybody else in the league, really. And then you throw Reaves into the mix for something like that. It shouldn't be fair, which was, I think, the idea behind making the trade in the first place.
This was as synergized as we've seen Luka and LeBron since this trade happened. As it turns out, by the way, because we've been hearing a lot in the comments section, we've been hearing a lot on Twitter, certainly seen the national conversation, certainly been hearing from a lot of, if not Mavericks fans, because Mavericks fans were certainly really angry about the Luka trade to begin with, certainly a lot of people enjoying purple and gold schadenfreude. As it turns out, 3 games might have been premature to declare Luka washed damaged goods upon becoming a Laker. Might have needed to let that thing marinate a little bit longer. But the LeBron and Luka synergy, and then the way you put Austin into that mix, the 3 of them just seemed much more on the same page, like more under control with each other. I also want to make sure to shout out Rui, because this is, I think, one of the best games Rui had all season. And it's ironic. He had no rebounds in this game. We've talked all the time about wanting to see Rui rebound more, but 21 points, 4 assists, some terrific defense. Like, he was often the guy charged with at least starting out possessions, single covering. Jokic did a very good job with it. The Lakers tonight were, and LeBron did some of that single coverage as well. But the Lakers tonight,
I don't want to like argue with you, but it wasn't. They used the sort of the Towns blueprint that they used against.
That's what I was about
New
to
York.
say.
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago, where it was like your guard. And this is, I think, if you're looking for something that feels sort of sustainable, like it would be nice if the Lakers had more center. Because behind Jackson Hayes, who has, I am not here to, he's played better than I expected him to. I think he deserves a lot of credit. Played a nice game against Denver. He is on a lot of teams kind of about on this team. He actually kind of functions as a skill set wise as a decent, starting option, because you don't need a lot out of your center, but like, you wish there was more at this position. I think that is not an unreasonable thing to say, but the Lakers have shown that they have a blueprint that they can deploy against bigger players, against Karl Anthony Towns, against Nikola Jokic and all this stuff, and make life difficult for those players. And for Jokic, they really limited his scoring. They really limited his ability to shoot.
They actually
limited shoot and make it, like literally to take shots.
I actually thought they limited his everything tonight. And I realized he had a triple-double, but this was a triple-double where he barely reached the qualifications in those 3 stat lines to get the triple-double. Like, Jokic had 12 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 8 of his 12 points were at the line, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, but against 6 turnovers. It's weird to say it about a guy that had a triple-double, but they reduced Jokic to about as much of a non-factor as you can do to somebody like Nikola Jokic. And what I was going to say with as far as the single covering of Jokic that happened a lot with Rui, but also LeBron, a couple other scattered guys, it was a combination of occasionally going just straight up one-on-one, keeping it honest and guarding everybody else so Jokic had nowhere else to go, or really well-timed double teams, everybody scrambling, recovering, and just forcing turnovers or just rotating around everywhere. They did this extremely well, mixed up the looks, mixed up the timing of it all, and it flustered Jokic. Like Jokic was, again, it's weird. It's not often you say this, but Jokic was pretty ineffective in this game tonight.
It's a testament to two things, both how good he is, but also the central role that he plays in basically everything the Nuggets do, that you could look at him and say that was, he had a triple-double and he was relatively limited. And look, I mean, Denver will, let's say this is a playoff matchup. Denver's going to adjust to what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. But I think, that is a down the road kind of thing. The place that we're in right now is looking at, first of all, recovering the Charlotte win. Because I think a lot of people had this one down as like probably you're probably gonna lose this one, go to Denver, and they're red hot, haven't won there in 1,000 years and all that kind of stuff. Well, now they kind of clawed back a win that they maybe should have had before. So standings wise, this is an important win in that regard. But it's just like they don't have a lot of time to find their best selves and to go out. And Redick, after this game, speaking to the media, and we'll break after this and we'll come back. I mean, I know we normally do just one segment on a weekend show, but we'll do a quick break and we'll come back. But like, the way that Redick was talking about their ability to take in the game plan and execute the game plan, both from an effort standpoint. This is why we talked about how important the Portland game was, how hard they played in that game and like grinded that thing out, because they put the same effort out against Denver and played better, and look at the result. You could tell Redick felt like this was like a monumental leap in their kind of collective capacity to do stuff. And I want to get into that a little bit when we come back.
Well, we'll just let people know to begin with. Locked On Lakers brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh. You save thanks to DoorDash. Every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order up to $10 off the next day, noon to midnight. After an epic 50-point performance, you can celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, burgers, or anything from your favorite spot delivered straight to your door. Get a little lunch on the go with the Dash Pass. You get your favorite meals with 0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. And you have to sign up, though, for the Dash Pass and then get ready to save. Again, any player scores 50 or more in a game, regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10. Just use the promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game. On eligible orders at participating merchants, you must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn
Folks are
more.
really getting their money's worth. Locked On Lakers also brought to you by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action's just getting started. No better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And with FanDuel, Andy, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip or want to get in on a fourth quarter comeback, like maybe people thought Denver was going to have you'd have lost that one. You can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports book for sports betting partner, I should say, of the NBA. As long as we're on it, and we're giving you a second weekend segment. So give us a subscription to the Locked On Lakers newsletter. You go to LockedOnDaily.com, click on Locked On Lakers, and have goodness like this delivered to you every single day. I just, again, they're not going to, it may not work this well, Andy, as it did on Saturday every night between now and the end of the season, but you have to make these games as constructive as possible. And the collective defense that they played, playing without a center, 4 steals from Luka. Luka, by the way, just looked 15%, 20% quicker in everything that he did. You talked about how, especially in the Charlotte game, right? Because he didn't play against Portland. The just looked slow. He looked sluggish. He looked slow. He looked tired. This one, he did not. He had some pop, the baseline dribbling, all that stuff, getting into the paint, all that stuff. He had much more burst to what he was doing, and you could tell the difference. And so that, what they were, and that same level of burst was all over the defensive side of the floor. And they clearly executed what they were supposed to be doing on every play. They did not get off of that throughout the game. And like Redick was like giddy after the game based on what they were able to do.
Talking about how against Jokic, it really stands out the idea of you only have the center rotation is one. Like tonight, they did not play Trey Jemison, or Christian Koloko was not even active. Like they went with Jackson Hayes or small Alex Len did not play in this game at all. And it stands out in a night where
he played garbage time.
Right. I'm talking about actual minutes. Like Jemison and Len did not play minutes other than like the last 5 or so of the game. Like when the game was actually being decided, those guys did not step on the court. And that was obviously a decision JJ decided to make. And it really stands out when, in theory, you could choose to try to throw more size at Denver. And JJ went in the opposite direction, opting instead to go with not just his best players, but his best defenders as well. Like the best defensive combinations, and even with someone like Jackson Hayes, and this is something I've talked a lot about over the last few weeks that I've really liked that JJ's done. I think Jackson Hayes is a more effective defender in space, further from the basket than he is around the lane. He can protect it okay sometimes, but I think he is often prone to fouls down there or getting pushed around. And rather than try to make Hayes be the thing that he isn't, JJ has often been willing to play him in other spots around the court, let other guys rotate, be the low men, whatever, and just play to what he thinks will be the best overall version of the defense, as opposed to being either didactic about this or worrying about you have to have that.
Lakers win in Denver by 23, and all of a sudden you're tossing out words like didactic.
Yeah, I'm sure none of the Nuggets fans will understand what I'm saying, but
dang.
Like,
God, I hope you used that correctly.
I know I used it. I'm pretty sure. I know. Well, I'm pretty sure.
I know I used it correctly.
I did use it correctly. I know what didactic means. And I definitely don't want to use it.
What you're really hoping is that they don't know.
Well, I really don't want to use it incorrectly in talking about JJ Redick, because if he were here, Lord knows that guy would correct me if I was wrong. But like these are the things. Can I spell it? Anthony D just asked me in the chat. Didactic. Didactic. And I did use it in a sentence, so we're done now. But these are the things that I
intended to teach, particularly in having moral instruction as an ulterior motive, in the manner of a teacher, particularly so as to treat someone in a patronizing way. We'll roll the tape. But anyway,
the point being, JJ, I think, has recognized what this team is, and this is something we talked about a lot with both Darvin Ham and Frank Vogel down the stretch of their tenures with the Lakers, that they often tried to force the roster into what they wanted it to be, as opposed to using the roster that you have. And I think JJ earlier in the season was a little more guilty of trying to play the style he wanted as opposed to the roster that he had. I think it helps that he is increasingly getting more of the roster that he would want. But these are things that we've seen JJ do over the course of the season, particularly like the last month or so, that I think have really paid off well.
Yeah, and we'll quit here, but beyond it's just fun to watch. We've had a chance to watch, obviously, it's the Lakers. You and I started covering the team, going back as far as Shaq. It's like we've seen a lot of stuff, and we're right there with the Kobe Powell teams, and we've seen that stuff happen. We were there for Vanderblue, and we saw, but then you see LeBron, and you get to watch LeBron James on a night in, night out basis. And you just realize with time, you do become kind of numb to how good guys are in the level of production. Like when Kobe finished his run of 50-point games, and the one that broke the streak, I think he went for 34 something like that. And you're like, all right, well, just 34 for Kobe that night. You just get so used to it. We have another opportunity to just, okay, we're going to watch Luka every night. And this is what that looks like. And it's very, very cool. But to your point about playing the best players, and I think that's really what it is. It's you see sometimes in games mismatches, a center is being guarded by, or a power forward is being guarded by a guard in the post, and it's not somebody you normally run your offense through, but you got to take advantage of that mismatch. So you start tilting your entire offense to try to take advantage of this. And now, meanwhile, you're not doing any of the other stuff that you normally do as a team, and the other team wins for baiting you with that mismatch. Jemison, Len, guys like that are the equivalent of that for the Lakers in a game like this, because if you put them out on the floor, you're compromising your offense. You're not necessarily improving your defense, but you're just we need to have a big person out here all the time. And the goal is to play your best players and figure out how to make them effective. And that's what they did. And that's what they've been doing. We will have a lot more to say about this game tomorrow for Monday's show. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you're going to hang out with over 32,000 subscribers. Thank you to the 1,000 people who are watching this live show right now on a Saturday night. We certainly appreciate it. We'll see everyone we'll see everybody Monday.